let's go through the ingredients first. And so she's making ramen noodles today, and this is a flour that like we use for ramen, and like typical like flour for ramen noodles has like relatively high protein content, and that's really like around like 11%. And this is another ingredients like that solid ingredients that go in to the flour like this. As you can see, this is black pepper and water and salt and kansi. So these are the ingredients for the black pepper noodles. Okay. So this is the machine that we have. We call Richmond One machine, and this machine is actually well, it's only one machine, and that's designed for Europe, EU countries where CE mark is required. And yeah, so like we be shipping this machine over to like different EU countries, and it's very versatile, and it's an all-in-one machine. So like you can make craft fresh noodles from scratch, just with this machine. And so what she's doing now is she's making dough, right? She's making dough from a mixer. It's a mixer unit. Um, this is a 10 kilograms mixer unit, like which means that like you can mix up to 10 kilograms of solid ingredients. 10 kilograms, like flour. Like if you're doing 10 kilograms of flour, and then you're adding up to like 40 to 45% the water, like liquid to it. So that means that like 10, right? 10, 40%. That's 4 kilo to 4.5 kilograms of liquid added to it, like a maximum. But like the minimum it'll be like 25%, like so that 2.5 kilograms of water, or that's like lower hydration ratio noodles. And you know, we don't have time to kind of like just keep watching the how the dough is made like in the mixer. So like she prepared the dough in advance, right? Can you see that black pepper kneaded into the dough? And like every time like we do these kind of like flavored noodles, I wish you guys were here, because like you can smell, right? You can smell the black pepper. I'm I'm probably like from like 3 feet away from the dough, but like I can still smell the black pepper. Yeah, you'd be amazed like how strong the smell is coming off the dough. Even though it's like the percentage of the black pepper is not that great, you can it's the smell is pretty strong. And and I have to like note that the black pepper that we are using for this dough is like not it's rough, roughly kind of ground black pepper. The the particles are not that small. It's rough, right? So like rough. So like when you bite into the noodles, right? Um, it's like under your teeth, right? Like you may uh, kind of or like grind the piece like black paper and then like burst underneath the teeth, right? So that yeah, the customers like may experience that kind of like sensation like when biting the noodles. See the black spots being made into sheet of dough. Yeah, so like black pepper is kind of gives the kind of like the kind of peppery spice, like peppery hotness, and I think it's I think it's be great. Like some people like love it. When yes, one of these like I can think of like that feature sort of like kind of black black pepper like being the main source of like spiciness is that like um, the 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 mud club dish that they have in Singapore, right? They have like chili club version and like black pepper club version, and um, I like the I think I like the black pepper one better than the chili version, chili club, but um, so that's like kind of peppery sort of the hotness that that you feel from use of like this black pepper, like kind of like in good quantity. So noodles themselves like have like this um, kind of black pepper, just like a flavor, and it's I guess like it's up to you guys to like kind of like match. I mean, what kind of soup that you know match these black pepper noodles with. It's up to you guys, but so so first like we have this crumbles dough, right? Like out of a mixer, and then um, so we kind of like forcing this crumbles dough like through the rollers, right? Like said rollers to make a rough sheet of dough first, right? Rough sheet of dough first. This process we call rough forming, and yeah, so the dough that's like the sheet of dough that's being formed right now is not that strong. You can actually like rip it apart like with the hand, right? By pulling it, but we have to make it firm, right? We have to make it firm, like so that noodles would be like kind of crunchy and like um, hard like in texture, right? So how we do that is that like we separate it, right? Separate it into like two sheets, right? And then we actually combine like each of these two sheets through the rollers. So we call this process like combining process. So two separate sheets like going through the roller, going to the roller, right? And then coming now as one sheet of dough. So through the rollers, dough is coming out. And then you may be able to see that like the surface of the dough is like smoother. Yeah, so there are many noodle shops like ramen shops that serve spicy noodle dishes, like including ramen shops and then like udon shops. But I I haven't really seen like they many of these shops like serving like sort of this type of like flavored noodles. They just serve like kind of regular noodles, but like the sizes, right? Noodle size of noodles that they serve like it's like varies from dramatically, right? From like really thick one and like to like really thin one, and of course like they also have kind of flat noodles as well. Uh, but like having this kind of type of like flavored noodles would be like also great, right? Depending on like what kind of spicy soup that they're serving, and but I think you know as I kind of like talked about, like I think the thicker the noodle, right? Um, the spicier the customers will feel because I think the area, right, the amount of area that that like touch the customer's tongue, right, when they bite into noodles, and then they have to bite and chew a couple times at least, like before they before the noodles like go further, right, and then like so I think the amount of time like the noodles stay like in the mouth is longer, like the thicker the noodles are, so that's why like it's spice, like the customers like feel spicier, and um, if like thicker noodles like or like flat noodles carry like more soup, like more soup, right, which is usually spicy, and so yes, that's why the thicker the noodles, the bigger the size of noodles, the spicier our customers feel. So that was the combining process, and the dough is then just great in terms of noodle texture. So all we do is that like we'll just thin it, we'll just thin it to the final thickness, right, and cut it. And so from this point on, right, so she started dusting it, dusting the dough um, to keep it from sticking. And so that was the first thing like after a second combining process, and it's gonna do another round of thinning, and then gonna cut it. And then just like we'd have to like do like just a couple of rounds of like thinning, just to make sure that we are not damaging the gluten structure that's being developed inside the dough by drastically thinning it. If you like apply like just too big the pressure right in the dough, then that may damage the gluten structure inside dough. So we should yes thin it gradually. So we basically like apply the rule of 30% reduction rule. So at each of each round of like thinning, like we reduce the thickness, the roller gap by 30% from the previous thinning. And so she's measuring the actual thickness dough, and that's 2.0, 2.1 ish, and so that tells us that there's a 0.6 difference between the roller gap that we set, right, and then the actual thickness of dough, 0.6 difference. So, so the actual thickness dough is like, oh, the dough is bigger than the roller gap we set because the dough bounces back always. So the actual thickness is always bigger. And then so this is the kind of kata we use to cut the dough sheet into like noodle strands. And it's number 18. So um, that's about like 1.7 in millimeter in width. $1.7 millimeter. And so the final thickness, right? Thickness is determined by the roller gap, right? And then final thickness we are aiming at is about like 1.5 millimeter. So kind of like standard, kind of regular size, right? Regular size, like kind of medium size is usually like 1.5 millimeter width, and this is 1.7, so it's a bit thicker than the like standard, like regular kind of medium size ramen noodles. Yeah, so the noodles are coming out, and the another thing like you can control in this machine is that like you can control the length of the noodles, and by changing the length of noodles, you're changing the portion size, serving size of noodles. So if you make it longer, you're making bigger serving size, and then if you make it shorter, you're making smaller serving size, like that, with very short, so it's very small. So it's very easy to adjust the length, right? Length, which is the serving size, at the touch of the knob. So this portioning cutter it's pretty accurate actually. Like so it cuts the noodles in the range of like plus minus like 5 grams. So if you're aiming at like, for example, like 120 grams per serving, they should come out 125 to 115 grams per serving. So that's how the craft noodles can be made on this machine from scratch. And this is a black pepper noodles. Okay, so I think it's time for us to like go into the kitchen.
And my name is Thomas. I'm one of the instructors at the Yamato Noodle School. And today's topic, spicy noodles. I'll be showing 3 different types of spicy noodle dishes. The first one is spicy hot pot style skimming. And the second one is curry udon. And number 3, tom yum noodles. Okay, so I'll be making these 3 different types of spicy noodle dishes. So let's get going. And first thing I want to do is start boiling the udon noodles for the curry udon, because this is going to take the longest time. So here's the udon noodles. So as you can see, the noodles are thick, so it's going to take longer time to boil. Okay, so I'll just take one batch of this and put the udon noodles into the boiling water. And for udon noodles at this thickness, boiling time should be around 7 minutes. So I'm going to start the timer. Okay, so let's just let this boil. So while we wait for the noodles to boil, let's finish off that spicy hot pot style skimming. And first thing I want to do is make the dipping sauce. Okay, so here's a soup. This is a Chinese style spicy hot pot soup. So I'll take 1 full scoop of this. And for the ingredient, I'm going to put some braised beef shank. And other ingredients, it can be anything. I'll put some enoki mushrooms, bean sprouts, and chili pepper. Make it extra spicy. And also we have chili oil as well to make it even more spicy. Okay. And let's start simmering this. I'm just going to let this cook at low to medium heat. And while we wait for this dipping sauce to be cooked, let's start boiling the noodles. And for the noodles, I'll be using this Szechuan pepper mixed in ramen noodles. It has that nice tingly sensation and also has that nice aroma as well. So let's boil these. Okay. And this should be done in 2 minutes. And because we're using these noodles for skimming, the noodles will be washed and chilled after boiled. So make sure to boil the noodles a little bit longer than regular noodles. If you're using these noodles for regular ramen soup, hot ramen soup, the boiling time should be around 1.5 or 20 seconds. But because we're using for skimming, I'm boiling it for 2 minutes. And then after boil, we're going to wash and chill the noodles. Okay, let's just set the water. See, as you can see, the noodles, you want that boiling machine to be boiling so the noodles are moving around freely in the basket. Okay, let's check up on the dipping sauce. It should be ready soon. And we're using Szechuan pepper noodles, but you can also use the black pepper noodles as well. It goes perfectly well with this type of skimming. So you can play around with type of noodles you use. So most ramen shops, they have few types of noodles and different type of soup to make different type of noodle dishes. But having the choices with your noodles, it's gonna expand the possibilities of your noodle dishes. Okay, so the noodles are done. I'm going to wash the noodles. So there's starch around the noodles, so you want to remove all the starch around the noodles. And you want to change the water at least once. So as you can see, the water is cloudy. You want to throw this away and use fresh water to chill the noodles. So once the noodles are nice and clean and chilled, we're going to plate the noodles. When you plate the noodles for skim in, what you want to do is just want to grab all the noodles and you want to use your finger to comb the noodles so it's nicely lined up. Okay. Then once plate it nicely to the plate, okay? So the noodles are ready and the dipping sauce. And for the topping, I have some chives. It gives a nice color. And also thinly sliced leek.うどん出してもらってもいいですか？あれ。はい。はい。And lastly, I'm going to put that chili pepper on top. And also I have some thinly sliced chili pepper here, so I'm going to top this on the noodles. Okay, here's the Chinese style spicy hot pot style skimming with some Szechuan pepper noodles. Okay, next I'll be making the curry udon. So for the noodles, uh, here's the udon noodles. It was boiled for 7 minutes and washed and chilled. And for udon noodles, even if you're serving it hot, you always wash the noodles because there's a lot of starch around the noodles. That's going to make the noodles sticky and it's going to ruin the texture. Okay. So we have the noodles ready. So let's prepare the soup. So here's the curry udon soup. I'm just going to warm it up. And while we wait for that soup to warm up, I'm going to prepare the toppings. And for the toppings, I'll be using some deep fried vegetables. So I have shimeji mushrooms, an onion, mini tomato, broccoli, and carrots. Okay. So, and I'm going to just deep fry these. Deep fried vegetables are perfect for curry udon. Let's just deep fry these until there's some slight color to it. The shimeji mushroom should be ready. Broccoli. Broccoli is ready as well. Onion. And carrots, it's going to take a little bit longer than all the other vegetables. Okay, should be ready. So the deep fried vegetables are ready as well. So let's finish off the dish. The soup is warmed up as well. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to reheat the noodles. So I'll take that boiled udon noodles and warm this noodle up with that boiling water. All you need to do is just warm up the noodles, so it's probably going to be around 10 seconds. Okay, just like that. And make sure to strain out all the water. And into the bowl. As you can see, the soup is warmed up, nicely warmed up. So I'm going to pour the hot curry udon soup. And use all these deep fried vegetables. And lastly, top some prawn tempura. And have some thinly sliced leek in the back. Just a little bit more. And lastly, thinly sliced chili pepper with a nice red. Okay. So here's the curry udon. This is another staple udon dish that you can make. Okay, next I'll be making tom yum noodles. Okay. And first thing I want to do is you take the tom yum soup. Okay, into the pot, and we're going to cook some of these ingredients into the soup. We're going to put some prawn, tomatoes, mushrooms, onion slices, and this one is lemongrass. It's going to give that nice flavor. And I'm going to simmer this until all the ingredients are fully cooked and extract all the flavor into the soup as well. So I'm just going to lower the temperature, and let's just simmer this until the prawn and all the other ingredients are fully cooked. And while we wait for the soup to be ready, we're going to boil the noodles. And for the tom yum noodles, we're going to be using the gluten-free rice noodles. And the boiling time should be around a minute. Okay, so let's start boiling these noodles. Okay, and start the timer. One minute. Soup is looking good. And if you want to make it extra spicy, here's some raw belly pepper in here as well. It's going to bring up the spiciness. Okay, 10 more seconds with the noodles. Okay, the noodles are ready. And strain out all the water because this is going to dilute the soup. Into the bowl. And what you want to do is first just pour in the soup. Okay. I'm going to line up the noodles. And next, I'm going to put all the toppings. And I'm going to top it with some thinly sliced leek. And some cilantro on the side. So this. And some extra raw chili pepper. And lime. Lime goes really well with tom yum soup. So just put the lime on the side. So this is tom yum noodles using the gluten-free rice noodles. Here's 3 types of spicy noodle dishes that I made today. So this one's a spicy hot pot style tsukemen, and next curry udon, and lastly tom yum noodles. And to make these noodle dishes, we use these types of noodles. Szechuan pepper mixed in ramen noodles, and that one's black pepper mixed in ramen noodles. This one's a udon noodles, and also gluten-free rice noodles. And these are all made with one single machine, Richmond ramen machine. And we don't have it here, but you can also make soba noodles. You can also make pasta noodles. You can also make gyoza skin. And you can also make spring roll wrapper as well. So you can make all sorts of types of noodles and many different types of flour products, like gyoza skin and spring roll wrappers. So yeah, by having that Richmond ramen machine, it's gonna bring it's gonna expand the possibility of your noodle dishes. And also, it's hard to find these type of special noodles like Szechuan pepper mixed in ramen noodles, or black pepper mixed in ramen noodles, or green noodles. And you can make all of those with that ramen machine, and it's all high quality. So if you're looking for high quality, unique noodles, it's hard to find it at your supplier. And most likely, if you can find it, it's going to be expensive. So it's also going to cut down on your costs as well. So it's going to bring you to an advantage over your competitors for sure. Okay. So yeah, if you're interested, please contact us. And if there's any questions. So we have a question. What's the percentage of the black pepper mixed into the dough? So this one, the percentage is 1.5%. So if you're making 2 kilos, 1 kilo of flour, it's going to be 15 grams of black pepper, so 1.5%. Okay. So if you want to make it stronger, you just need to bring up the percentage. If you want to make it more milder, just lower down the percentage.